So hello everybody and welcome. As you're aware, we're One You Lincolnshire, and this is going to be a webinar specially focused on our stop smoking pathway. So what I'll do is I will give you a brief overview of some of our other areas, and then I will hand over to my two lovely stop smoking colleagues as well there for you. So who are we? We're One You Lincolnshire. We are a healthy lifestyle service, and we are commissioned by Lincolnshire County Council and the CCG. So we One You Lincolnshire, we have 4 pathways to help somebody achieve their healthy lifestyle or work towards a healthy lifestyle. And they are smoke free, move more, lose weight and drink less. Now we know as a county we've had these services either isolated or different projects in roundabout ways, but this is the first time we've had it as that integrated element. So what that means is a service user that comes into service, they can access one or more pathway at the same time. We often see that's the case with our lose weight pathway and the move more pathway. But equally, if somebody wanted to focus on one specific goal and move their way through, that's fine. We're here to support them on that journey. But we're really keen to push that integrated element, a one-stop shop really for your healthy lifestyle. So I'll move more. It's for adults who are doing less than 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity per week. So what we mean by moderate intensity activity is physical activity that gets you slightly out of breath and get those heart rate levels raised. For everybody, that will be different. So for what one activity looks like for somebody else will be slightly different to another person. So because of that, we've got a variety of ways to access our physical activity pathway. So we do that with one-to-one sessions, with group sessions, with exercise on prescription programs. So this is where the service user will get a 12-week voucher for their local leisure provider. We've got the Other Room Gym, which is coming up to its first year of development. We quickly developed this website after we went to remote working. So again, it's essentially just a virtual gym. And then our Get Healthy, Get Active programme is essentially a directory of local physical activity, clubs and groups, anything from a commercial gym to a rowing group that's out there in Lincolnshire as a county. And what we do is we signpost people to these local physical activities after they've been through their intervention, because we want them to continue to move in more after when they're in the community as well. So our Eat Well and Lose Weight programme. So this is for adults who have a BMI of over 30 or 27.5 for a BME group. And again, we deliver that in a variety of different ways. So we have our own group programme, which is called Lose Weight With. We have Slimming World vouchers, Weight Watchers vouchers, and access to the Weight Watchers app. Second Nature, which is a digital weight management programme. And then our Man v Fat football, and now our Man v Fat challenge whilst those leagues aren't running as well. So again, a variety of options for the service user to choose, as we know what works for one person doesn't work for all. Our drink less side of things is again for adults, and it's for adults who are drinking over 14 units of alcohol per week. So we deliver this side of One You Lincolnshire by one-to-one sessions with our health coaches. We have workshops. These are workshops on craving, mindfulness. We also have an alcohol awareness workshop. We have our own app, which is called the One You Lincolnshire Drink Less app. This app is a tool to be able to track your units. And then we have an external provider on board called 1 Year No Beer, and we have licenses for 28 days. So this is a 28 days abstinence challenge with these guys. We have a team of health coaches, and our health coaches underpin the whole of One You Lincolnshire service. Now, our health coaches can either work alongside a client, or they can work with the client prior to them accessing one of our programs. And it's for clients who need that additional support. So in our triage process, we'll assess their confidence and their motivation. And if they score low on those and they're happy to have that additional support, then our health coaches will support them in a holistic way to make sure they get the very best out of their journey with us at One New Lincolnshire. So hand it over to you, Tim.
Thank you. So the final pathway that we have, and obviously that we're going to focus on today, is the stop smoking pathway. So this is for people from the age of 12 and above. We offer 12 weeks of support, but that continues into week 26 and 52 weeks as well, following on from their quit. We check in with clients up to a year post their quit attempt, just to make sure that they remain smoke free. All of our sessions at the moment are being run on a one-to-one basis, but at the moment, obviously with things as they are, they're all being done mostly over the telephone. Virtual option is there as well if people do want it. And we're able to supply 12 weeks of nicotine replacement therapy, which is posted out to the patient's home address, or if they receive a prescribed medication, that prescription request goes via the GP. So that's sort of the service as a whole. But what I really wanted to focus on today really was to kind of talk to you a little bit about how to approach your patients about stopping smoking. So obviously once the client is in the service with One New Lincolnshire, we take it from there and we'll take them through that quit attempt. But the real key sell is at the start, when the patient is in your community setting, in your clinical setting, the hospital, the pharmacy, wherever that may be, the GP surgery. Patients are often more receptive to an intervention, and they're more motivated to quit when in a healthcare setting. So it's a kind of a prime opportunity to have that conversation with your patients. It's an ideal time to provide information for them if they're more receptive to it. And a lot of clients don't necessarily know how to quit smoking. They'll know why, but not necessarily know how. And also as well, because of Lincolnshire and the way that we work with our smoke-free policies across healthcare settings, it's almost an ideal opportunity to have that conversation about stopping smoking. So you might well be thinking sort of, how do you have the time to do this when you're in clinic, you're in an appointment with your patients, and smoking cessation is a very small, minor part of the overall role that you have. Well, the guidance from the National Centre for Smoking Cessation and Training, the NCSCT, is to deliver a short intervention at every opportunity, and that can be done in almost any situation. So any roles or backgrounds that you're working in at the moment. And it's kind of seizing on that opportunity. And now this is known as very brief advice, or VBA. Some of you may well have heard of this already. And essentially what it does is it follows 3 key principles of the intervention is delivered in less than 30 seconds. We don't tell or instruct or go into real detail about how much somebody smokes, or even if they wish to stop it. It's about delivering how they can stop rather than why. So it follows 3 simple steps. And the first step is basically to ask. So ask your patients, do they smoke, or have they recently stopped smoking? And record that status. It's choosing the moment. So this is, it should be part of standard care to ask that question. And because smoking affects many aspects of life, it's a relatable topic. There's lots of relatable opportunities that you can ask that question. So it should be part of standard care. So are they currently smoking, or have they recently stopped? It's important to know if somebody's recently stopped, because what we're looking at there is preventing them from relapse. So they might need relapse support rather than actually quit support. So yeah, the first step for that very brief advice is to ask. The second step is to advise. Now, it's not advising the why, but it's advising the how. So focus on how they can stop. So for example, having the conversation with your patients, did you know that quitting smoking is the single best thing that you can do for your health and well-being? Did you know that there's a smoking cessation service in Lincolnshire? Did you know the best way to stop is with a combination of medication and specialist support? So it's those kind of questions that prompt that conversation, rather than just saying, did you know smoking's bad for your health? Because most people know that it's bad for them. So that's the kind of the advice stage. And then the act stage, hopefully, is a referral into the smoking cessation service. Now, a smoker ideally needs to be able to access stop smoking support at any period of their patient journey, wherever they are. So as a healthcare professional for yourselves, it's important to know some of the basics about why it's important and what the benefits are. But ideally, if the only thing that you are able to retain or able to share is how they can stop, that goes a long way. We know that most smokers want to quit, but they won't necessarily know how to access the support or have the confidence that they can quit. So as a healthcare professional, within your roles, you can really help with that how, rather than the why, really. So that's kind of a real brief on very brief advice, but there is evidence behind it working. So studies show that smokers that were offered help by the GP were twice as likely to stop than those who were just advised that they should do it because it's bad for their health. And patients know as well that it's a valid topic of conversation. So not discussing smoking with your patients could lead them to think that it's not something that you're concerned about. So why should they be concerned about it? So that's why it's really important to have that. And the thing about why it's not important necessarily to go into all the detail and why you can deliver this intervention in less than 30 seconds is because some of the things aren't important until the point of referral. So for example, how many cigarettes somebody's smoking, whether they're smoking 1, 5, 10, 20, it's kind of irrelevant because they need to quit anyway. So that's the kind of detail that we can get when they actually come into the service. It's getting that referral in the first instance that's really important. So that's kind of what I wanted to focus on in this first part, is how you can help secure that referral into our service. And you'll be surprised that actually just delivering that very brief intervention, many patients will make a quit attempt whether they were thinking about it or not. The basic psychology behind, if you ask someone if they want to stop, they'll automatically start to generate reasons why they can't or they shouldn't. As we said, all smokers know that it's bad for their health, and many will want to quit. So you can kind of skip the stage of why and go straight to the how, and that's why it's such a short intervention. So that's kind of how, as healthcare professionals, you can help us. When we go on to looking at what we do once they're into the service, so all of our staff, we've got 11 core team members, and then we also have numerous pharmacy and GP staff that deliver smoking cessation on behalf of One New Lincolnshire within their settings, are all level 2 certified smoking cessation practitioners. We go through the medications and the NRT. My colleague Alison will discuss this in a moment, but we'll talk about the options available to them. We focus it, and it's underpinned on behaviour change. And like I say, that timeline is for 12 weeks. But it is extended beyond that. We do offer post-quit support as well. So Alison, if I just bring you in at this point, do you mind just explaining a little bit, I suppose, about how we go through that 12 weeks of NRT or medication and the kind of things that you talk to the clients about on a day-to-day?
Yeah, absolutely. So what generally do when somebody comes into us for that 12-week support, on the very first initial assessment, we will assess their nicotine dependence. This is absolutely vital to ensure that we get the correct level of nicotine replacement therapy to them, so then they can have a successful quit attempt. And then we look at gradually over the course of 12 weeks weaning them off, which will also be discussed with the client. It's very much a client-led approach. We would always get the client to kind of like come up with their suggestions, solutions, what they need. We very rarely kind of like go, actually, I think you need this sort of thing, because it's actually their quit attempt. So that's how we have to deal with it. Each of our stop smoking practitioners are trained up to behaviour level change training 2 as well. So we look at behaviour changes when they come in with us as well. So we ask things like open-ended questions, so we can gain more detail from them as to how kind of like, how they viewed their smoking, what previous quit attempts that they have had in the past as well. We offer them the range of solutions that we had for like pharmacotherapy, and at the end of the day, if it's suitable for the client, it is their choice as to what they want to have, sort of thing. They can have either the nicotine replacement therapy, and we work on what they call combination therapy. So that is always a nicotine patch and an oral product at the same time, or obviously there are other medications that we use called Champix and Zyban, which are prescription only based medications.
Thank you. So yeah, it's a combination approach, and that's what we're really looking at really here, is to kind of secure that referral, and then once the client is in the system with 1U Lincolnshire, we can then take that from there. And one of the real benefits about the pathway as well is that because of the nature of smoking and how difficult it can be to quit smoking, it often doesn't happen first time, and we know that. So, you know, there is the door is open again for clients and patients to come back into the service to receive support if they do relapse or they don't quit the first time. And that's kind of a real luxury of our service and our pathway in comparison to the other pathways with 1U. We kind of have that open door approach. So yeah, so there's plenty of options available for patients when they come through. And if we look at some of our sort of statistics from sort of July last year, across Lincolnshire, we've managed to set nearly 2,000 quit dates to this point since July 2020 to sort of end of January, February 21. And of those, around 1,150 of them have managed to quit at 4 weeks. We don't have all of the 12-week figures at this point, but at 4 weeks, 59% of those that are signed up are managing to quit. We're aiming for a 50% quit rate on that. So, you know, it is over and above that at the moment. So once we can get these people into the service, if we can keep them in the service, then hopefully we can help them to achieve their quit and their goals with us. So yeah, thanks. Thanks, Charles.
Thanks very much, ladies. So yeah, we'll go on to the Q&A part now. I can see one's coming through the Q&A. I have a client who is vaping post stop smoking and is struggling to stop this. He's anxious that he will go back to smoking. Can we help with this?
Do you want me to take this one? Or
yeah,
Becky? I can take this one, absolutely. So we are a stop smoking service. So one of the criteria coming into the service, unless they are an acute patient and they've been in hospital, we can only take on clients who have been smoking tobacco within 48 hours. So that is one of the criteria. However, we can offer advice to this patient. We can't take him on. We can have a quick chat with him and look at reduction sort of thing. We are more than happy to kind of help people. Obviously, we're not a vaping service, and vaping is classed as 95% less harmful than smoking. So we would obviously, if this client is struggling there, we would actually kind of maybe have a chat with him and look at offering him some kind of just a little few hints and tips. But as he's not currently smoking, it's something that actually wouldn't be able to take him on his books because he's not currently a smoker. But however, we kind of say offer some like behavioural change tips sort of thing for people, if that answers that.
Yeah, thanks, Alison.
So
You seen that in the chat?
yeah. Do you have to fill in the form or just so I think you can, if Becky wants to take that, do you have to fill in the form or just give the telephone number one?
Wait, hold on. I can't see that one.
All right, so yeah, so it's just in chat to all of us. So it says do you have to fill in the form? Obviously there is on the website, so there is a referral form where you, as a healthcare professional, you can fill in. Your client can also do a self-filling in of that as well, sort of thing. Or they can obviously just phone in the office and speak to our triage, who are extremely busy at the moment. So if you say to your clients to call the office, they may have to just leave a voicemail and the triage will get back to you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
There's one in there about can you refer in for relapse support. So that would be the same as the vaping support. Somebody wouldn't necessarily be eligible for the programme if they are just after relapse support, but like Alison says, we have worked with clients who just need a little bit of a conversation around things that they can do, and we are willing to give that without them necessarily being signed up to the programme. We do get one or two that do come through that way. So, you know, if there is anyone that is really, really struggling, then we would be happy to have a conversation with them. The team are all willing to do that. The only way where there's an exception is this for pregnant women. So we have a slightly different rule around pregnant women and partners within Lincolnshire, is that they can join our smoking cessation service even if they are quit smoking already. And the reason for that is because of the real importance, obviously, whilst they're pregnant, to remain smoke-free. So they can come into the service if they have been quit for a period of time. We can still accept them, even if they don't need any nicotine, we can still offer them the behaviour change support. So it's slightly different for pregnant women and partners.
So can I just answer the question? We've had a question come in about is vaping smoking? No, it's not. Smoking is termed as the burning of tobacco, so you actually have to be consuming tobacco, so vaping is not classed as smoking, no.
Thank you very much, ladies, for those answers there. I think we've about covered those that's come in through both of the chat function and the Q&A. Anything else that comes over, we'll try and capture that as well, and perhaps give you an email towards the end. So I'll continue to flick through. There we go, tech not working. Right, there we go. So how do we do it? So once a referral comes into our new Lincolnshire, we have our triage and support team who will give that client a call. We ask them a range of questions based on lifestyle, their needs, confidence and motivation, and we'll work with that client there to see what's the best options for them, perhaps which pathway they want to start if they've got a range of pathways, and then book them in with the relevant team member there. So as Alison answered as well through one of the questions, ways in which the referral can come in. So for primary care colleagues, we have the form that's very well integrated into System 1 and EMIS that comes straight from your systems into our inbox, and we'll triage the client that way. For all of our healthcare professional colleagues, on our website, we have a healthcare professional portal. So you can put your details, put clients' details, and again, comes into our inbox and we'll give that client a call. Or you could advise your patients to self-refer. We've got a telephone number and we've got our website function as well from which they can self-refer there. So how do we refer more? Becky spoke to you about the very brief advice and how you can increase those referrals. In terms of your environment, so for perhaps any primary care colleagues, community colleagues with clinics, we do have quite a lot of resources which are available to use for you. Depending on systems as well, we have primary care systems. We have a function in which you can send text messages out with our own template. On that template for the eligible patients, it includes our details for them to self-refer. As part of the RGO team, we're happy to have regular updates and meetings with you. Like I said, with the displays, we've got a range of resources for your waiting rooms, for clinics. For any colleagues on here who might be out and about and on the move, we can still provide you those for any folders and things you might take with you. We have digital resources if you have any TV screens or anything like that in your clinics or waiting rooms. We're on most social media, so we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're on Twitter. If anybody's wanting to do any collaboration on any specific blog posts for related to your clients or anything like that, we're happy to do some collaboration work. And we also, well, prior to the pandemic, when we wasn't working remotely, we was hosting various clinics in-house in some practices and community venues. So if that's something you're interested in, we'd also be happy to have those conversations when things resume as well. So as I said at the beginning, if you are interested in any further meetings, perhaps you want the service overview in more detail, you want to maybe go through some data that we've got, we're happy to do that. So just make a note of the email that's on screen there. And the relevant referral generation officer will get back in touch with you. Like I said, we've got someone that covers all the patches there, so we're more than happy to meet to perhaps maybe send some resources out or work in collaboration with some projects. So that's good there. If you came along to our last webinar that we hosted, we like to end with some quotes from clients and a good news story. So as you can see, my involvement with One New Lincolnshire has been beneficial, both mentally and physically. honestly, I feel like a completely different person. The one I always wanted to be. I'm going to have to move your lovely faces out of the way, ladies. The one I always wanted to be. I'm generally so much more confident. And our story today comes from a stop smoking client here, a lady called Stephanie. Just before I go on to Stephanie's story, on our website we have all of these in our news section and various bits of updates. So perhaps you might like to read more of these stories. That's available there on the website. So as a smoker for almost 17 years, I attempted to quit on numerous occasions without success. I was very scared to never be able to quit and had some reservations and concerns about using Champix. I asked Jacqueline for information about the drug and the side effects. She explained everything thoroughly, from the effect of the drugs to the conditions of my lungs as a smoker and how it would benefit me to quit smoking. She was also very honest about the process and how difficult it would be to quit. Jacqueline checked on me regularly to assess my progress and ask if I had any issues with the drugs. I also had some concerns because Champix was making me extremely nauseous. Again, she listened attentively and offered me an alternative, which made a huge difference and enabled me to continue. I was off the smokes for about 8 months when I relapsed. I called Jacqueline after a week. I was rather worried and embarrassed. However, there was no judgments from her. She acknowledged the difficulties I was going through and reassured me that it's okay and that she would help me. Once again, she offered me her experience, professionalism, and care to support me in the process of quitting smoking. She kept me in check with the prescriptions and also made sure everything was in order with the GP, especially in these difficult COVID times. I highly recommend seeking for help with Jacqueline and One New Lincolnshire, especially for people that have attempted to quit smoking on their own successfully, but are determined to do so. You will always find an attentive and knowledgeable professional in Jacqueline. I couldn't have done it without her. It's a lovely little story.
It is.
So I'll stop sharing there. Just had a message in to say that we will send out the Zoom recording for any colleagues that couldn't access today. So I do apologise for those technical issues. And like I say, if you do need anything further from us, please don't hesitate to get in contact. And I hope you enjoyed today's session. And thank you, ladies, for...
Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.